now is Congressman Adam Schiff of California. He's the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, and he, of course, was the lead manager for the Democrats for the last impeachment. Congressman Schiff, welcome back to Meet the Press. I don't think any of us thought that your experience a year ago would be so relevant. Here we are a year later, and we're entering a second impeachment. Let me ask about the preparation for this one. The impeachment you led was a very document-driven. It was in some ways witness-driven. You were putting together a narrative that not everybody could see in real time. This is one where the narrative everybody sees in real time. On one hand, I assume that's an asset to these impeachment managers. But what do you think is their biggest challenge?
Well, I think that the managers recognize what we did a year ago, which is we may think that all the senators and the American people know all the facts. But in fact, when you look at the whole chronology of what the president did in the weeks and months leading up to January 6th, his efforts to reject the outcome if he lost, his lies about the election before the election, during the election, after the election, his efforts to intervene with local elected officials, the Secretary of State in Georgia, indeed the Justice Department to get him to help overturn the election results. Many Americans and indeed many senators may not be familiar with all of those facts that led up to that incitement of that mob. So you can't presume that either the Senate or the country are aware of all the facts. You really need to present that full picture, and I'm confident that they will.
Respond to Senator Cassidy's critique there that he said it was rushed. This impeachment was rushed, and we're hearing this from quite a few, I think, Republican senators who I think are more open-minded about this than some folks think. But how would you respond to his critique of the process?
Well, a couple things. First of all, they said that the last impeachment, in which we had months of depositions and hearings, was also rushed. So they're going to make that process argument regardless. But here, there was a real sense of urgency because the president had just incited a mob that attacked the Capitol and resulted in the deaths of 5 people. And we felt in the House, as well as 10 of the Republicans, that every day he remained in office, he was a danger to the country, and we simply couldn't, we couldn't sit still and wait for weeks or months while this man posed a danger to the country. So we did act with alacrity, but the president will have every opportunity to put on a defense during the trial. The impeachment is like an indictment. The president was already given the opportunity to testify in the trial and has rejected that. So they'll put on a full defense, and I'm glad to hear Senator Cassidy say that he has an open mind, which indeed all of the senators should, and I think that's encouraging.
Did you think you had a chance at winning 17 Republicans over the last time? I think you needed more than that, actually, the last time because of this, what the Senate makeup was. Did you go into that impeachment trial, despite all the numbers, despite all the polling showed, right? The punditry class didn't think there was much of a chance. Did you think you had a chance at winning a conviction?
We thought we had a chance. We recognized it was very uphill. We also recognized that it was our constitutional duty to impeach a president who had so clearly violated the Constitution and to make the case to the American people, even if we couldn't make the case successfully to these Republican senators. And one of the reasons why we thought we might nonetheless succeed is if we could get witnesses, if the country could hear from someone like John Bolton, who was in the room. That might lead to more witnesses, and that might lead to changed minds. And, of course, that was precisely the fear that Mitch McConnell had and why he wouldn't allow it. So, yes, we realized we had a chance, but it was very uphill. But nonetheless, we needed to make the case to the American people.
What do you make of the idea of witnesses this time? I know some Democrats are talking about it, but, you know, you have some Democratic senators who are just as anxious, including a former senator who's now president, just as anxious to see this impeachment trial go away. Do you think witnesses don't get called because of that?
Well, I think, you know, and what we wanted in the last trial was let the House, let the prosecution put on its own case. Let it decide whether to call witnesses, what witnesses to call. That's what should be allowed in this trial. It'll be up to Jamie Raskin, an extraordinarily capable, brilliant constitutional scholar, to make those decisions with the team. But in a very real way, Chuck, we have the unusual circumstance where on the very first day of the trial, when those managers walk onto the floor of the Senate, there will already be over 100 witnesses present. And those will be the House and Senate members. Right. Whether you need additional witnesses will be a strategic call for the House managers.
Before I let you go, I would like you to respond to Kevin McCarthy on the Marjorie Taylor Greene vote. Here's what he said on the floor of the House this week. Take a listen.
If people are held to what they are said prior to even being in this House, if majority party gets to decide who sits on what other committees, I hope you keep that standard, because we have a long list you can work within your own.
You worried about the precedent that has been set here? I had a former aide to a Republican speaker say to me, Democrats are going to, if they start this precedent, my side will show no mercy the next time they have power.
No, look, Kevin McCarthy stands for nothing except the perpetuation of his own position. He has no values, and in my view, cares about little except for hoping to be Speaker one day, God forbid. But look, if members of either party are threatening violence against other members of the party, of the body, and suggesting they be executed, if they are casting doubt on 9/11 or school shootings, if they're heckling victims of crime, like Marjorie Taylor Greene did with the victim of the Parkland shooting, if they're suggesting that a religious group is shooting laser beams to start forest fires, they should be expelled from their committees, whatever party they are in. They shouldn't, frankly, even be in the Congress.
You're not worried about the precedent?
No, as long as we hold the same standard, you have members that are threatening to execute each other, and they should be removed from their committees.
Yeah, seems like a reasonable standard. Adam Schiff, Democrat from Southern California, chair of the Intelligence Committee, and you're rumored to potentially have a new job. We'll find out in the coming days whether that happens or not. Congressman, thanks very much.
Thanks, Jeff.